Looky what we have here. I either have a blown radiator hose or a blown radiator, period. There is coolant everywhere. You can see I have a leak right there. Okay, wish me luck. Looky what we have here. I either have a blown radiator hose or a blown radiator, period. There is coolant everywhere. Everywhere. Holy smokes. To see what's up. Trying to find out where the leak is and looking at all the splashes of coolant. Kind of see that it's all coming from this area. This is really wet here. It's wet all the way down in this area here too, so it's almost like it's been spraying from here and on, because you can kind of see the splashes spreading that way. That's the trajectory right from this area. So I need to check the hoses and also check the radiator here. Okay, wish me luck. Also, strangely, the outside of the radiator is very wet. So I wonder if there's a leak on top here somewhere, or maybe it's just that the cap was bad. But there's really no splashing from around the cap. Most of it is coming from this area here. And of course, there's evidence of coolant splashing on the hood, especially right up here, which is right in this area. See how it kind of puckers in this area? So, all right, the engine is almost warm. RPMs have settled, so I'm gonna keep an eye on this. I'll wait for the thermostat to open and see if I can find a leak. Okay, here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing coolant seeping here from the radiator. You see all that coolant here, all this green stuff? Oh yeah. Okay, the cooling fan hasn't kicked in yet. But again, I'm seeing this coolant leak right over the top of the radiator. Okay, the temperature is coming up. You can see I have a leak right there. A leak right there. Right there. So I need to replace at least the radiator. And here are all the tools you need for this job. You're going to need a 10mm socket, a 12mm socket, 12mm wrench. If you have a ratcheting one, that would be even better. You need a 3/8 drive to loosen the pulley if you are replacing the belt. So a tensioner pulley gets released with that 3/8 wrench. You're gonna need a clamp pliers or regular pliers. You're gonna need a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. That is all you need. Maybe some paper towels, a drain bucket. You're gonna need 2 gallons of coolant, the new radiator, a radiator cap, and some bushings if you're willing to replace those. Okay, today's the day we are replacing this blown radiator in my Xterra. Got a pinhole right in that area. There's a leak. First thing we're going to do is we're gonna disconnect the battery. In fact, I'm going to move the battery out of the way just to allow for more wiggle room over here. Then we're going to remove part of this air box, the inner intake, so we can get behind the radiator and the shroud, the fan shroud. And I think first thing I will do once I disconnect the battery, I'm going to get under the truck to get the coolant drained. First I'm going to take this skid plate off to get some clearance, get the coolant drained, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so now we are going to open up the drain cock here. I'm just going to use a Phillips screwdriver, open that up, and drain the coolant. So while the coolant is draining, here's what we're replacing today. Of course, we're going to replace the radiator. I've got the Koyo brand ordered from Parts Geek, not sponsored by them. Thank you, my buddy Stan with DIY Auto and Photo. He recommended this belt. He installed this in his Xterra eventually, and that stopped the squeak. I've got some bushings, the lower radiator mount bushings, and then the upper radiator mount bushings. And then of course I got a couple of jugs of coolant. This is probably the most economical option, but it says it's good for a Nissan, Kia, Honda, Hyundai, and Subaru, and it matches the blue Nissan coolant that I already had in the truck. So because I'm not doing a complete flush, this has been done recently. Because of the timing chain guides, I am going to keep most of the coolant that's in the truck in there and just refill it with this stuff. Okay, that's the job for the day. Minus this guy. I might get a different one or maybe keep the original one. So here's the difference between the original radiator cap and the one that I bought. The brand is Gates. This is the part number. I got this on Amazon. And the difference is really in the amount of rubber. Okay, this original cap has a ton of rubber surface here. Okay, and then this guy, the rubber is about the same thickness really, but it's mostly metal, and I think it's actually intended for higher pressures. So I will give this a try, but I'm not going to get rid of this guy, so we'll see which one works better.